No, what is that? He has to fix his hair. He has to get camera ready for this. Let's Sal get camera ready.
All right.
You ready?
Yes, let's do it.
Yo, we're here with Sal. Sal's got the best hair at the Renzo Gracie Academy. Sal, do you subscribe to the Happy Pill?
I was a day one subscriber.
He's a day one subscriber.
Watch every video.
And you share every video.
I share every video.
You hit the like button on every video.
Like, comment.
Yeah. Do you, I forgot. I also learned recently that I have to make sure that everybody's also checking the description of the video. Do you ever go through and look at the description of the video?
I actually should start doing that.
Yeah, it'll give you important information on the Happyville project, on Professor Mike Jaramillo, some background information on the technique, maybe classes that we covered last week, ways that you could support the channel. You know,
get on the Instagram, get on the YouTube,
TikTok.
Like, share, subscribe. I don't care if your friends don't train. Show them videos, they'll start training.
If I can have your attention, everybody's been coming so much. I'd love to be able to get some drills going off of the things that we've been doing, and also add a little bit to it, and then so that we recapture everything that we've been talking about. So the first thing I want to do is, we're just going to go into an Omoplata, right? Fairly simple. Guy comes in, he's driving in, you put your knee up to block, and as you block, you bridge away. And as you bridge away, this knee comes in, this foot comes in front of his face. So 90% of the people will roll over this shoulder, and as they jump, no big deal. I lift my hips the opposite way for a reason, and I take my far side foot and I take it to the other side. I want to isolate this limb to break it. I also understand that if I don't do that, he's going to hitchhiker potentially and escape on me. Go back a second. So I do want this foot here holding his body line down, that if he hitchhikers now, we go as a package together. Keep going, sir. We go as a package together to still break on the other side. So I have full isolation of the limb. So do not put this leg and leave it here and think that you're going to break it. I don't control his path. Also, sometimes as you fall back, he was like this, right? In the beginning, he was like this when he jumped. So sometimes just be careful. I want this leg on the other side also for a reason, because he may come up the middle to come and try to save his arm, right? So when the jump happens, you knew he was jumping. I mean, you had to be closing your eyes if you didn't see it, right? So that's not kind of realistic. Go back a second. Yeah. So 8th is here, and I'm like this. And I'm trying to figure out where I can go with this, because potentially, we're not going to do this today, potentially I'm going to shrimp out, and I'm going to start isolating this limb from this side, potentially, okay? Depending on where I'm sitting with the elbow. If the guy's, hypothetically, the person's 5 feet, and the limb is like this, I'm not going that way. I probably won't get in the pocket. But if he's 6'1" and I'm 5'8", and this pocket's massive, and I'm sitting so high up on the elbow line. Only reason I describe this is because I know that there's some releases of DVDs and stuff on this where they come back this way. You have to really understand where your elbow line is sitting. Just don't add that to your repertoire. And if you want to add it, I'm fine with it. But understand where this elbow, just don't go through the moves and now you're sitting here to come, oh, how you breaking this? You're not going to break a person's forearm or wrist. So understand if you decide, but we're not doing that. I just wanted to explain that to you. They jump over. Boom, they're over. Boom, leg comes long and I throw it over for a reason, right? Come back again for me. Okay, so one of the other, we started doing the Renzo roll, right? So the Renzo roll went on the other shoulder, right? And now he comes like this, and he's coming up, and he's driving me forward, and he went this way. So on the Renzo roll, you come up at the same time, right? So when he goes up on this Renzo roll, I'm up also, because I want to beat him to the punch to come up here to grab this. So in the last class, we said we were going to grab this wrist, lace through, and I'm not going to square up. I'm just going to bring this across underneath my body in a semi-moon set and slide it behind his back. So this is, sorry, I slide it behind his head and I went right back into an arbor on the other set. I'm going to add a third one for you, okay? One of the escapes that we did, okay, was where they run the hip line at me, and now it's really hard to do the things, and they're not doing what I thought. They didn't jump over this shoulder, they didn't roll over that shoulder, and the Renzo moved. And they're crowding my space, and I'm like, whoa, and he keeps running. I'm like, I can't get my hips out because, go back a second, and really, BJJ 101 from the very beginning, I always wanted to come out and look my hips this way with my feet retracted this way. But I'm sitting like this when I first threw this leg over. My kneecaps are facing this way, and I'm trying my best to get here. And he's running at me, and I'm going, poof, I can't get away. So I flip my grips, and I'm going to ask you guys to do it in the beginning as a package because it's a momentum move. Because it happens so hard that you're trying to shrimp out or your hands are like this and you're looking to attack this leg and he's running so hard at you that you just have to accept that we're going to go over together. But I'm going to help the situation so we get over. He's running at me, so I'm going to ask your partner to help you because if he's just stagnant, it's not that easy, right? And that if I'm just saying, right, if you stay right there with me, if he is stagnant, okay, that means at some point you're going to kick out his legs and slide his hips off of you and he's coming up. So it's not really real that he's going to stay stagnant like that because at some point his hips are going to fall in this pocket. But now he's running at me. And I'm like this, my kneecaps are facing the wrong way. I gave this long explanation of why this is happening. And he's driving into, so I take him and I force my kneecaps to the mat also. So as we come over as a package. And now I'm top player coming back into the fight. I hope that made sense. We had a bunch of reactions. There was only one other one that I didn't go over on that one, was where the guy comes in quick to blow up on top. But if you recapture from last week on the happy pill, we went through that. So that was that other one, go down for a second, where I was like this, right? And now this guy's exploding up. And as he explodes out, he's on my leg on this side. So that's another option that the guy they potentially could do. Okay, guys, let's partner up. Let's try all three. Let's do it. And so I'll tell the mechanics behind this, point by point, how it goes. You're like this, right? And now let's say when I first threw this over his face, I went like this. My kneecaps are like that way, right? And I'm like, okay, I would have, in slow motion, I would have loved to have planted this, taken this foot out in slow motion, and now start putting it as far out this way so I can flip my hips and come back into this fight, right? And Steve said to me, hey, Mike, we worked together a bunch of times. And he said, your feet were crossed early. Yeah, you're right, man, it was a great observation. I'll tell you why, because at this point when I first went this way, and I'm like this, and now I told you he ran his hip, but his first instinct should have been to go vertical. So the reason I cross up is because he's going to try to pick me up. So I jam my knee down to make myself as far over cantilevered as possible. But now he reacts and he knows I'm starting to get out. Now he reacts again and now we're flying over as a package. And that's why that happened, because I should have been ready to cross and hold my line on this side of the deltoid to make myself as heavy over the top as possible so he couldn't get up. Because his first reaction when we were going down, he should have been going wham, coming right back into this fight. Whether it's a real fight because I'm coming back with a right over the top, or I'm going to shelf the leg and come back in. I went over that in the happy pill. So that's the reason why I crossed it early, because my instinct always is to cross it early and cantilever over, because his instinct should have been to go vertical first before we start going bump, 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 where our head hits the ground. Okay, guys, let's partner up. We will go deeper into more attacks, and we'll keep drilling the sequences, and then we'll scrimmage on Friday from this position, so that, go to Omoplata, right? Only thing he gets is he gets to put his hand here, and I get to start here too. And he doesn't know where I'm going. Maybe I shoot here. Maybe I put my knee here. You know, he has no idea. So we start to learn to scrimmage here, right? Because he's either going to win or I'm going to win. And one of us has to make a decision which one I'm going. He doesn't know if I'm going to shoot here. Has no idea. Maybe I run over there and get in his pocket before he closes us up. So we're going to scrimmage on Friday, okay? But let's add a couple more so we get comfortable drilling everything. And ask your partner. You got so many combos now that you can say, hey, let's do this combo with this combo, this combo with this combo. And then you can pair them all up. So I'm going to add a couple, right? So let's say he does the Renzo roll, right? He's like this. And now he's rolling, right? Hopefully, come back 1 second. I was about to tell you. Hopefully, as if I was doing everything right like this, and you remember how we backed up, if you go in the footage, I was telling you to go like this, and now he realizes, so he goes Renzo rolling. If I can catch that, no, go. If I can catch that calf, because I was going like this, come back again for me, right? So going live, if I go, all right, I'm going, go ahead, I'm up. He brought me up off that calf, because if I was doing everything, he realized I was getting to the leg, so he goes on that roll. So you should have been reaching over, because even if I was reaching at the calf, what would his reaction would be to hide his leg, right? Because he doesn't know if I'm hunting these legs. So he starts hiding the legs and running the hip to me. So this is where I was a second ago, right on the throw over that way. So if I've answered every call and I read I should be 1/4 step ahead every single time, because he should be on the defensive. He hasn't recovered anything. I'm dominant player in a super secure spot. So when I yell to you, in drilling class especially, because we do these scrimmages, and I'm like, you don't lose your man. You don't lose your man. You stay dominant. If I attempt a submission and he gets out, I understand, hey, I've risked something, but I should have stayed dominant the whole time. So if you understand everything I've attached, I've been going off of this man's reactions nonstop. Okay, so if I've done the one right now, right, let's go slow. I was doing all this anyway, and now Ethan goes on the Renzo roll, right? And now, whatever, I'm up, and I'm like this. We don't have to come to this. If he's driving so hard, and I'm trying to, there's an opportunity to lace this neck right now. So we're gonna go right back on this neck right now, right? So if you see me, I've laced over the neck. What I care about, so we're really gonna cut off his air right now. We're not gonna go for the blood, because where I am right now, it's hard for me to get to this artery on this side unless I try to hit a 10 finger on it. So as I've released this hand and latch my top hands, I'm gonna cover this, because I don't want him. Let's say hypothetically I throw a guillotine like this low or on his hip, he's gonna tripod up and he's gonna jam this in my neckline, and I may go to sleep. If I can't, I mean, sometimes you can't even let go, they're so jammed in, your hands are stuck. So we were here, right? This is where we were. I just came up. So I laced the neck. As I slide out and I attach my hands together, I told you what he did to me before. He drove this shin, he went high, went on a tripod, he counted correctly. So I covered the arm. So now I've isolated that neck totally. And the recovery arm, he also has a problem shoulder rolling, because I'm here sitting on the back of his neck. I don't have my hands connected for a reason right now. It would kill his throat, right? So come up for a second. I'm just gonna keep these hands unconnected. If I cup this on the back, Ethan's only out now. I've killed this, right? Because even if he does this, he presses his neck even tighter, because he starts constricting himself even more. So that's not realistic. But because I put my blade on the back, if Ethan rolls, we go as a package together. So I've never let go of this neckline. So now he's got to try. I mean, besides, most of the time you even get the blood. I mean, you just, and that's a vicious one. That is really, really, just be careful. You do that live. I've had 2 friends with their vocal cords popped, and I don't want to see those actions. So just be careful, because you're on that, you're totally on that Adam's apple. So when you latch up and you pull aggressively and throw over, it's a violent choke. Okay, so let's add that one. We could do both, right? We can go on the Renzo roll to the armbar that we've been working, and then also see the opportunity to lace the neck and come high and cover the leg on the top. Let's rock. Oh, hey, there's sometimes somebody sees something. Never feel bad about a question either, because somebody's light bulb moment might be something you just take for granted every day. And I've seen it multiple times. And then somebody else just goes, that was so obvious. So never judge another person's light bulb moment, and vice versa, because you don't know. The mind interprets things. I was trying to communicate something to somebody for a long time about this reaction. That's a true story. And I was trying, man, I couldn't get through to them and how they needed to change the angle. And then my friend described it in the sports analogy to him, and this position in the field, and all of a sudden it clicked. And I was like, man, the guy didn't tell me he played shortstop. He should have told me. So, but it's true. Like somehow he related it back to something else. So the reason I bring that up is remember when I'm telling you to lace this under his throat like this, from that position like this? This hand is your pulling hand into your throat. This hand's just lacing and sitting there. This is the lat that kills that. So when you're pulling, you're aggressively yanking it up. Okay, so I know some people they'll just put their hands together. I don't need this hand pulling this hand. This is on my neck. This is the guy I'm pulling, okay? Number two is, I know some people when they're landing like this, and they're like this, and now they want to square these hips up and do all of these things and come. That's not what I'm telling you to do. I'm telling you, as you release, you push off this back leg. So whatever this leg does, I won't stop this push. I'm asking you to push, 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 so that this leg slides behind and now I'm set. There's a reason I'm asking you to do it. If you remember what happened in the very beginning, besides his momentum started it, right? Come in here, Omoplata. So he goes on that Renzo roll, right? And now what do you think is going to happen? He's jamming up like this to drive me this way to pass me on a smash pass. So I'm countering back. I'm jamming up also. Come on. So my jammed up's different than his initially, right? He's got momentum on my side. I don't. He comes up. All I own is that elbow. I'm obviously coming up, but I don't have momentum, right? And now I've landed up. So I've come into this point where, okay, let's say hypothetically I'm sliding out and I'm lacing up. At some point as he comes, we're doing more so. As he's coming up, I'm here going, okay, I took this arm, so I better push off with this leg because I don't want to be here. It's not the end of the world if he comes up and we're like this. But there's a chance he can get behind me, okay? But I don't want to go there. So in the very beginning, when he first came up, I was pressing off this leg and taking the bottom one out. Because even if I squared up, and let's say I decide I'm not going to go behind his head because he's falling too far back, this leg, I should have been able to slide this leg and never lift my hips. I didn't want to do this where I come vertical because then the gaps end up. So I got to mirror that man we're stuck. I'm feeling everything that guy does in his turns. So just so those little things, if you could just remember them. What time is it? Guys, I want to actually get a couple of more rounds in, maybe just one more because guys are competing in 4 weeks. So right now we got to get tough in as many different roles as possible. So instead of doing 6 today, we're going to do 7, but we'll start right now. Okay.